Hello, welcome to another tutorial video. What we're going to be looking at now is an exemplar piece from AQA themselves. This one's got top bands for both responses, nearly full marks. It's an excellent piece, well worth reading and going through. Hats off to AQA for producing it for us to use, and second of all for teachers and students all around the country to use, and second of all for the annotations that they've actually added now that are clearer, so we can really focus on them. Over on the left here we have the mark scheme, so we can actually look at why they're getting marks from here, just to back it up really more than anything, because if we do that it will hopefully strike our minds a little harder. And here I've just got my really basic element of what you need to do for this paper, or the way you need to write. So it's only 3 or 4 things, but we're going to see it time and time again used in this A-star example, and obviously how well it's done is why it's got marks, but this is as a kind of idea of what to follow. Hopefully this will be useful to us. So we look first at the question. Write a brief article for a website of your choice telling your readers about an interesting or unusual journey or travel experience you've had. Explain why it was memorable. So we start off with speeding down the River Dart. The route is quite simple. The man at the rental told us, just enjoy. So it's a really good opening start, because it's not what we were expecting. It doesn't start with the most favourite time or the most favourite holiday I ever had was. It starts with a quotation from the man who actually gave them the boat. And this is interesting because it starts with so it starts here with dialogue, so organisation of ideas. It's variety straight away, and also it's originality straight away. It's because they've got the dialogue. You can just kind of highlight and see here that's what he started with, so that's why it's got double ticks. My family and I were on holiday in Dartmouth, and this was the one thing I had been looking forward to, so straight away he's actually mentioned what it is. Renting out a boat. The day was perfect. Fluffy clouds floated lazily across the bright blue sky. So here, renting out a boat, just a 4-word sentence, and the day was perfect, another 4-word sentence, backing up what's come just before it. So the sentence is used there for effect, and we've got that in just down here. Employs a variety of sentence forms to good effect, including short sentences, and it's got a great description as well. The fluffy clouds floated lazily across the bright blue sky, which is communicating something very convincing to us, and it's engaging the reader as well with the actual devices that he's using, because there he's used personification, because obviously the clouds floating in that way, and bright blue, the alliteration, etc. The sun beaming down on the deep blue sparkling river, so the colours there are important. A little ripple splashing in the side of our boat, and the beauty of a sailing boat glided past. So obviously the word glided there, it's just a much better word to use. Sometimes the differentiation is which word you're using in place of another one. So we could have just went past or moved past here, but we've got the language chosen, the accuracy of a slightly more ambitious word actually used there for us. We were renting a small motorboat to go up the river and see some of the most beautiful sights in the area, the viaducts and the Royal Navy College, and the many wildlife supposed to be found on the shores. So again, we're back to, if we just scroll up here, we're back to the why and what we were doing, and we've had lots of details already. We were all on the boat safely, and Dad started up the engine. Immediately the boat roared to life as we turned and sped across the water, the cool breeze blowing our hair over our faces, and the spray whipped up behind us. The refreshing smell of salt water wafted up our noses. So here we've got really great sensory description. We're on the boat, so it places us there first of all. Immediately the boat roared to life, so we've got the onomatopoeia, so we can hear it. Turned and then sped across the water. Obviously the word of sped, it just gives an idea of the speed and the pace at which you're moving. The cool breeze blowing in our hair, so obviously there we've got we can feel. The spray whipped up behind us, what we can see, and the refreshing smell, the salt water up our noses, wafting up our noses. So that's the sense of smell as well. So it's really evocative, really clear, lots of descriptions there for us, and that obviously engages the reader, and we use a lot of linguistic devices, and the fact that we've had wafted in there as well, it's just a little more, it's just a nicer description than just say could smell. As we left the boat rental behind, the Royal Navy College came into view. It sat majestically on a hill, peeping over the tops of the luscious green trees. Really nice description, using majestically to actually talk about the Royal Naval College. Gives it the respect that a place like that would deserve in this person's eyes. On a hill, peeping over the top, so the personification of it kind of looking down, like almost like shy, etc. It just gives us a wonderful character to this building. Over the tops of the luscious green trees, very descriptive, so it's perfectly put for us. Here's a clearing called Dad. You can see it better from here, and you could. So that's well constructed. That's a very short sentence, and it's just emphasizing that. So the short sentence there is really used for effect. The Union Jack blew in the wind from the roof, and there were huge black and gold gates with the wording on. The building itself was Royal Navy ready orange colour. So there, the use of the dash is well used, because we just scroll down here, demarking it properly, because obviously those two words on their own wouldn't make sense separately, so he's actually joined them with the dash. So it's just good control with concrete supports. So again, the idea of concrete gives us the idea straight away of grey, so we've got a full picture from that as well. There was complete silence as we moved just past the clearing, and each of us staring back at it. Then just like that, it was gone. So very well controlled sentence, and just like that, it was gone, hidden amongst a dense forest of green broccoli trees. And that's really well developed. So if we look at this, it's very formal, and although it doesn't go into the abstract, but it's not childlike in its wonder. It's very formal. It's very mature actually in what it's doing, and it's still engaging the reader, etc. And it's got great control throughout. Just adding that bit there really makes a big difference. Wow, I whispered. So using the term there, well, I wouldn't say wow. I suppose wow is almost, it's not slang or shortened language, but obviously we'll get the emphasis of the sound coming out. I whispered, it's also beautiful. Again, we remained in silence, just the noise of the engine working quietly in the background. So that's a really well linked paragraph. We're using the wow there to start us off, and using again to emphasize that. And again, yeah, the examiner's marked that it's memorable here, and the examiners really like this description across there, because that, I presume, because of this description of the colour of the trees, just bringing to mind another colour through a different vegetable, a different shade of green. It makes it very clear for us. We came to a place full of weeds where a family of ducks were sitting. I spotted something. A brown creature sat poking his whiskers out the reeds. As quick as a flash, he turned and darted beneath the surface. I mimed to everyone to be quiet. So it's really it's really clear description, miming to everyone there. It's not like I made out to everyone to be quiet, or I told everyone to be quiet. Here, miming it, just again, it invites us to look at the scene rather than to hear it. So it creates a great image in our minds. So just to go back again, he keeps mentioning what's going on and why and how he's doing it, and then the details. So I mimed to everyone to be quiet as Dan turned the engine off. What was going on? We sat there for a few moments before, and then used ellipsis here. Yes, the otter popped his head up cautiously. So again, good description, using the detail of cautiously to actually give life to that character. We didn't move a muscle. Again, that's ticked, very well used sentence, just to kind of punctuate everything that's come before it and show the state of amazement that they're all in, and that completely justifies, along with everything else, the actual premise that was asked for at the beginning. And then it swam swiftly past the front of the boat before climbing out the water onto the boat, and before climbing off the something, shaking itself and leaping off between the trees. My mouth was hung open. What great luck! Short sentences in quick supply. And the man had told us that otters were rare at this time of year, and we had seen one. So that's nice as well. It's not only that he's gone into kind of more complex sentences into short sentences, as we've seen other ways. Here he's gone from short sentences into a complex sentence, which is just, again, very well controlled and very well executed. Unfortunately, it was time to head back as the town came into view. So here we're looking for a strong ending. As the town came into view, again we notice sea cadets training in miniature wooden boats with their sails. So that just on the way back, as we're wrapping this up, he just wants to kind of leave us with these lingering memories of what he saw. So that's well done. He's seen something different on his way back, and something full of action, and it's a great contrast to what he's just seen. So really, you've got the simplicity of nature and this training, military complex of this military establishment, you know, training. It's really well juxtaposed. We waved at them, they waved back, and we were travelling faster now, and we made it back. And that also ties into the what he said earlier about it majestically sitting there, the Royal Navy, just kind of gives us the idea of this, the seriousness and the grandeur and the majestic element of this place. They waved back, and they were travelling now as we made it back to the port just in time. The trip was the most memorable experience of the holiday. The sheer beauty of the place and seeing the rare otter had left us stunned with amazement. So yeah, I don't think there's much. So that got a 14, so it must have probably got 9 here and then 5 here. There were just a couple of things. I wouldn't even say that was, I would probably, maybe it was a 6 and an 8. Obviously only the examiner knows, but very, very strong. A lot of the elements that are actually due are due in there are actually there. It's really well linked paragraphs. A lot of structural features, obviously, like we said, we mentioned at the beginning, you don't have to do too many of them, they're all there. The complex ideas of what he was seeing were presented in a very beautiful, evocative way. Used a range of sentences throughout. The vocabulary of most of his spelling was right. I think it was just one or two where he spent where, and then one grammatical mistake. So maybe because it wasn't flawless is why a mark was taken off. But yeah, very, very strong. And you see, it wasn't like, I wouldn't say, a lot of people would look at that and I don't think you'd find it beyond you. It's just being very, where's the word they used for earlier? There we are, subtle. And it's just, you know, it was quite manipulative as well. It just kind of really put us there and allowed us to just share in this glorious memory. So yeah, really good piece. Excuse me, which you probably won't be able to download from the AQA website. You'll have to ask your teacher to go into the teachers area and download it for you, but well worth a read a couple of times to sharpen your own creative pieces.